When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International, Gordon D. Melville.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I am so excited today. I've never done anything with a guest before, and I'm wildly humbled. You're with the Long Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville on Inspired Choices Network. I get so excited. I've not had a guest, and to have somebody of the caliber of my guest today. If you don't know who Austin J Haines is, you're going to want to get to know him. Incredible human being. So I want to just touch base real quick. Welcome, Austin. I want to make sure that people know, hey, if you're in, jump in, say hi. I really appreciate people reaching out and connecting and liking and loving and sharing and asking questions and whatnot. That's what this is all about, is engagement and getting the message out there. And I know Austin's the same with his message, trying to get it out there. So if you resonate with any of this today, reach out to us. There's lots of different ways. We'll make sure that Austin has ways to get a hold of you, or you have ways to get a hold of him over the next while. So Austin, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you here today. And for those of you that don't know who Austin Haines is, he's been in a few books, but this is his current book. We're going to talk about it because he's launching it today. So we're all excited about that. On here, just to give you a quick idea, and I'll let him tell you a little bit about himself too. He's a transformational coach, turnaround specialist, and Flashpoint master facilitator, guiding others to experience their Flashpoint, their big breakthrough moment, and manifest the life of their dreams. He's an award-winning speaker, trainer, TV show host, and coach. He reaches his audience wherever they are and engages them on a life journey to propel them forward towards their own Flashpoint, realizing their own life and business transformations. He's an incredible, and again, it's an honor to have somebody that's a current thought leader on the same level with Tony Robbins and Les Brown and John Maxwell and all these iconic human beings. Austin's in that same vein. So it's such a privilege to have not just my first guest be somebody of that stature, but I'm so excited to have you here and to make sure that we're going to talk about all the things he's got going on. And he's got some massive things showing up today. And we're gonna talk about them all. I'm gonna get him to share about all that with you. So we'll get with that. You hook in with us on app. You can find us anywhere. We're on more than 450 platforms globally. So anywhere you're going to see us: Apple TV, Google TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, all the Spotify, iHeartRadio. Find us wherever you listen to stuff and connect. And then please like, love, share, and subscribe, because that's how we grow and build the network. Awesome. Now, we want to get to know Austin a little bit. I want you to know he's a mentor. He's a friend. I'm honored to be able to call him my friend. Let's get to know him a little bit. Austin, please share with the audience a little bit about just sort of a Cole's Notes about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Well, first I want to welcome in the listeners, Gordon, all over the world that you've been touching and reaching with your heart-centered message on mental awareness. You're doing an amazing job, and it's about the listener first. And I appreciate the kind words and everything you shared, but I remind myself that we're servants. We're doing this to serve, not so much to be in the spotlight. While the spotlight is valuable because it helps us get a message out there, it's really about the listener. So wherever you're finding this, I just want to welcome you into this space with us today, and we want to reach you and help you today. And I trust that some of my journey, all of my journey, might reach someone today and help them on their way. A little bit of light on the path, if you will, because some of us have realized that the path can grow dark, and sometimes somebody turned the lights out and we can't see, we can't get clarity, we don't know where we're going. Maybe we even started a business, or maybe we're thinking about starting a business, and maybe maybe the rug got pulled out from under us and we're trying to figure it out. And you're like, I found a long bearded guy. Let me listen to this show that I'm getting so much insight from. So yeah, this is going to be some great topics today. Is there anywhere in particular, because the story, so, there's so much to the story, I want to share and honor your listeners.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. Well, and when I said Cole's notes, I guess the other question I have for this segment was, what was your flashpoint moment? So if you sort of lead into that, I've heard that you've done a little bit. I've heard you do a little bit where you sort of, this is where I came from and this is what I was before, and this was my flashpoint moment.
Yeah. So there's many flashpoint moments that a person can have. Mine, started, if I look at my professional career, I guess we'll just start there because that's what's top of mind, and then we can always go deeper. But I had struggled a lot with self-worth throughout my life, and as I get deeper into this journey, I just realized how much I struggled even more, because not feeling that I was as worthy as everyone else. It wasn't like a moment. It was like this program running that everybody was up here above me and I was down here. And no matter what I did, I could never feel that worth that everyone else seemed to have. And not even aware that they may have had their own struggles, just completely hypnotized and brainwashed that I was flawed. But as we do, we go forward with our journey, and there's a benefit to that because that discontent sparks us to move forward, albeit not necessarily from the right place, but it can create progress. So that was me. And I struggled, dropped out of college, trying to figure it out. And then I landed this job in sales, which I barely got hired. They were closing the door. It's kind of like I stuck my foot in. I was like, please just give me a shot, And they did. And then within the first year, I wasn't doing well, because every day it was like, I'm not good enough to do this. Like everybody else is ahead of me. And I think very few people would have got hired without a college degree. And I was very fortunate that they took a chance on me. So in the first year, I get written up. If you don't turn things around, we're going to fire you. So then I had this internal flashpoint. We call it the internal flashpoint moment, and it's different for everybody. And that's why I don't tell somebody what their flashpoint is, but it's a visceral moment where every part of your body, everything starts to respond. So here I am facing myself. I'm not good enough, this lack of worth. And then I just had this epiphany and I write about it in the book, where I just had this awakening. In that moment of despair, the light came on and every cell in my body responded. And I got chills explaining it because I imagine it, and how it was a flashpoint moment. It was an internal flashpoint moment. Something awakened in me that I didn't know was there. Mm-hmm. And from that, I turned that situation around, almost getting fired, to becoming a top rep in the company in my category the 1 year, and then consistently in the top producers year in and year out. Had some rough years in there too, but albeit I did very, very well. I was in the top producers. Mm-hmm. And so that's like a professional flashpoint. And, I appreciate all of the journey. And if you're listening, we'll touch on the polarity principle too, but I'm going to turn it back over to you because I know I shared a lot about the story there.
No, it's good. I really appreciate that. And you know what? I think a lot of us have and you've heard me talk about worth and value, and for listeners that have been listening to the other shows and the other episodes, worth and value is a monster huge thing. And I think if we don't understand what our true worth and value is, it makes it very difficult to show up for even ourselves the way we need to and want to, let alone for other people. And so a lot of things flow out of that, right? And I think a lot of people can identify with what you're talking about in terms of not feeling worthy or not enough, and looking at other people and going, well, they've got all their stuff together. What's my problem? Why am I not able to get this together the way they are? And what we don't realize is that all of them are messed up to a one degree we all have our demons. We all have the things we battle with, and things that are easy for me might be hard for you, and vice versa. Things that you don't battle with, I might find really hard. So I appreciate that you're not trying to give them the flashpoint, because it's not the same for everybody, right? You're leading them to their own flashpoint with 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and in March next year, 5.0, that experience of being able to go, you know what, you provide a space safe to do that, safe to be able to be ourselves authentically 100% and be vulnerable and transparent. And I work with men, as you know, and a lot of us don't want to do that. When we talk about emotions and feelings and whatever, guys don't want to do that. But what I'm finding is when they feel safe and trusted and not judged, they'll open up. And I think that's what you're creating at these events. You're creating a space where people feel safe and not judged and allowed to be themselves. And when people get into that, they feel, I think, a combination of that safe zone, not non-judged safe zone, coupled with your concept around pause and breathe. And if you go back and listen to any of my, and you're one of my sponsors, so I really, really appreciate that. If you go back and listen to my episodes, you'll hear me before a break. And sometimes I forget, and I mention it after, right? To remind people going into a commercial break, hey, don't forget to pause and breathe and slow yourself down and ground yourself. And just to your point about the power of pure presence, the power of being right here, right now, and to give ourselves that gift. And so, I think those two things coupled together, where people are actually present, and it may have been the first time for them in a long time that they've allowed themselves the freedom to be themselves in that space and just be, if that makes sense. And so, they're in a space where they can be, and you've provided a safe non-judgment zone where they can let it out and exhale and go, oh, right. And all that tension just sort of goes away. If you don't know or don't follow Austin, we'll get the pieces into the link for you to, he has a thing called The Power of Pure Presence. I love watching those because you have no problem stopping, right? Now this is going out as a live radio show. So dead air on a radio show is kind of weird, but on a TV show, right? When this goes out as TV, people get it. Okay. They're stopped for a second, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I love when you allow yourself the space to pause and to breathe. And there's, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds of nothing except the nature we can hear around you, the crickets and the birds and the water lapping and all that. And that connects us to source, that connects us to Papa. Just standing and being in that space in nature connects us. And so I love that about listening to you and your message and being able to be 100% authentically you in the moment. And that's empowering. And for not just for you, but for the listeners and for the people that are paying attention and plugged into that. We have to pay a bill here, or a couple of bills. But I want to do a couple quick shout outs to some of my other founding sponsors. And so the first one is our brother, Jose Escobar. He's the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about the morning and evening routine mastery program that's absolutely changing people's lives. The program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. If you're not doing something to bookend your day to get yourself to maximize, you're not achieving your maximum potential, because you need to be able to have that attention. So set up your free strategy session today with Jose Escobar. You can reach him at www.theentrepreneur'sbookshelf.com. Incredible human being, amazing program. The other one I want to highlight today is Kat Schwarz. And my sponsor, Kat, is the founder and CEO of a groundbreaking company called Compassionate Healing Services, and offers a completely unique approach to treating physical and mental health challenges. Check her out on Instagram at Compassionate Healing Services, or email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com. Very, very thankful for my sponsors. I can't do this without them. Don't go anywhere. Don't forget to pause and breathe as we're in this commercial break. We'll see you on the other side. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. Be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to the long-bearded guy at gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. You're with long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville on Inspired Choices Network. And today I'm honored to have Austin J. Haines with us. Incredible human being. We're talking to him about what he's got going on, what he has going on. He's got some launches today. But before we I want to do that in the next segment. So stick around for that. But can you explain just sort of bare bones, and you have kind of already, but sort of in the simplest terms you can, what is a flashpoint? What is that piece that, because a lot of your message revolves around, I mean, the events revolve around that. The book revolves around that. What's the sort of a bare bones definition for you, or what you believe a flashpoint is?
It's something that happens in you, and every cell in your body, you could argue there's 37 trillion cells, whatever the number is. Every cell stands at attention and knows something profound is happening. And that's why when I talked about my story earlier in the earlier segment, that internal flashpoint, it's an internal process. And then that internal process expands. It's expansive. It's a flat, and it's interesting. It's like you look at it and I didn't think about this when I created it, but like think about creation, like bursts, the definition of flashpoint is when someone or something bursts forth into activity or being. And when you think about when you think about burst, that's a very, impactful thing when you think about a burst. So a flashpoint moment is when it really bursts into our psyche, that profound change is happening. Wow. And that something's going to be different forever.
Right. Very cool. You talked about it being internal. Is there such a thing as an external flashpoint?
External is the validation that you might get, that the validation that shows up, and you may think you know how it's going to show up, but most of the time that validation comes in an unexpected way in common hours.
Absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful. I talk a lot about when we're praying for something in a certain direction, in a certain way. And a lot of times I think we miss the answer because it doesn't come the way we had requested it. Right. And so we're so focused on what we think it should be. Right. Garth Brooks has a song called Unanswered Prayer. And he's like, he ran into a girl that he wanted to marry and was a high school sweetheart type person, but he ran into her with his wife. And you know, he realizes as they're starting to talk that she's changed, he's changed, and maybe Papa knew what he was doing with an unanswered prayer. Wow. Right? Not giving him what he wanted, right? Because that wasn't the best thing for him, right? And so, you know, that concept of, you know, sometimes the answer is no, or not right now, and we go, we didn't answer. Yeah, he did. We're moving so fast, right? And we're not paying attention. And so I love the whole concept around.
Right.
Go ahead.
And you talked about power of pure presence, and that's why it's almost a paradox, but they play off of each other. And you had mentioned it earlier, and I actually have the concept here: get free, stay present, move forward, which is the mug. And I know you have the tumbler there. That was the Flashpoint kind of mantra: get free, stay present, move forward. And power of pure presence grew out of that. But yeah, great reflection, Gordon, and that manifestation. Like Jim Rohn talked about, I know you know this. Jim Rohn once said, imagine if you had to think about how to grow a tree, like not planting the seed and watering it, but the actual growing of the tree. Like,
right.
He's like, that would keep you up at night.
Absolutely would.
Right. But that, where do we do? We not only plant the seed, we're like, oh, I want the branches to go this way, and we want to grow the tree. Like we want to be responsible.
Control.
And while that is like, if you're building a bridge, like that's relevant,
right.
But even in building a bridge, there's unexpected things that we cannot account for. And that's which I know is all throughout your faith, is just trusting in God and source that is beyond our comprehension.
Right. Good things and bad things happen to everybody. So it's not about what happens. It's about how I respond to that. How we can choose that. Right. We don't have a lot of choice about what's going on, or we can't control anything outside of ourselves, what we think and what we do. So everything else we try and we want to, right. But a lot of times we have no control of that. That's why they're called accidents. That's why life is going to happen, period. So then it's a choice I make in terms of being able to respond to that, not react, respond, right. No emotion. Right. With some logic, with all the details, right. We're so dialed into wanting to control, right. To your point about the tree, we want to be able, if we're the one growing the tree, we want to know, I want to be able to say, hey, I want that to go left and then curve right. And then we want to control that. And then to be calm and present with the concept that says, no, you know what, I can't control any of that, but that's okay. And I'm okay with that. And it's good. And it's the way it's supposed to be. So I may not see the good in it right at the moment, but I know it's where I belong. And so it's happening the way it's supposed to. And so you segued really good into my next question. Is explain the power of pure presence, because I think that's a very powerful, powerful, powerful piece that, and we all articulate it a little different, but I love the way you articulate that. So can you explain a little bit what the power of pure presence is?
I absolutely would love to do that. I want to go back to when you were first talking about it. And I've had people in the Power of Pure Presence show where I stream the show out in nature, and it's actually going to be my next book next year. But I've had people in tears over something that you've been in tears.
I've been in tears.
And you say, well, over something seemingly insignificant. And I say this a lot, is that the seemingly insignificant becomes significant. How? Through 100% presence with you in the moment. And the reason why people will tear up is because they're not used to that. And when they feel it, it's very profound, and it touches you at a level that you're almost surprised and shocked. And this is why it's an interesting show, because if you're not dialed in, you'll just blink right over it. But if you're dialed in, you'll be like, wow. And you know, it's funny, there's I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but there's a Jerry Seinfeld bit, and he talks about the line between it's good and it sucks. Have you ever heard this? He's like, well, was it good? No, it was good. Well, it sucks. He's like, and he talks about how the line between the two are so closely linked, right?
Absolutely.
It's a funny bit. But the reason why I'm bringing that up, how that's relevant here, is that the line between deep, profound, touching to simplistic and meaningless, therein lies the observer.
Right. Absolutely.
And where the observer is on their respective timeline.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where they are in their journey, right?
Right.
What value we've placed on that. And I think that's what catches me off guard. And I think that's why I was emotional, was because I meditate and I pray and I get quiet. I spend lots of time by myself. So being still and being present in the moment is not uncommon for me. But sometimes when you let go and allow, right, just be, I think the consciousness of that can overwhelm. If even though I'm used to being in that space, I think if in certain situations your show, I think, and whether it's the nature around you, it's because lots of times I'll close my eyes and just listen to you, and I can hear, because your brain's taking in all the information, not just Austin's voice, but all the other stuff that's happening around other people. As if you're in a place where there's, children playing, or, there's other noises, then they may be in the background, but our brain is picking that stuff up. And a lot of times something that's given to us, nature was given to us. None of us bought nature. It was given to us. And I think a lot of times what we do is take it for granted because it was free, because we didn't have to give anything for it. It's free. And you've heard me ask people, hey, do you have a net worth over 10 million? And everybody always laughs and goes, no. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to solve that for you. I'm going to stroke you a check for $10 million. I just need you to give me your eyes.
Right.
Right. And everybody says no. I've not had anybody say, oh yeah, no problem, I'm in. Everybody says no. And I'm like, why? Well, I need my eyes. Like, what's the point of having $10 million if I can't see stuff and appreciate what's going on? I need my eyes. And I'm like, great. So what you just did was value just your eyes above 10 million. That's before we talk about your lungs and your kidney and your liver and your heart and all the different, we have infinite net worth, but because it was just given to us, it's just there. We take it for granted. And so what comes to mind when I'm listening to you in those fields and in the special places you go, and I appreciate that the amount of effort that takes, because I know this doesn't happen. You investigate that and spend 5 hours on trail to try and find out what's going on late at night, right? In the mud and whatever, so that you can have a special place for your audience to be able to connect. That stuff just doesn't just happen. And so, you've made it easy for people to connect. You're building a space where people can literally feel the power of that pure presence. There's nothing else going on. I think that's part of the reason virtual coffees, at least for me, have been amazing, is because obviously we all have stuff going on before and we all have stuff going on after. But if we can block all that out and go, nope, there's nothing going on except Austin J Haines and myself and our producer today, and the audience, obviously, right? But if I block everything else out and just focus right here, right now, I'm giving myself the gift of being able to harness some of that power of being present, being right here. And it's powerful. It connect to source. It's huge.
This is real time in the moment. I had a dream last night, and I woke up, and I was trying to make sense of the dream. It was my stepfather's mother who had passed away. And I'm in the dream, and I'm the creator of Power of Pure Presence, the show. Okay. And she says, in the dream, she says, more stillness is the key. And at first I didn't recognize her. I was like, wait, she looks familiar in the dream. And then it dawned on me, it was my stepfather's mother. Wow. And I woke up and I remembered the dream. I thought, wow. This just happened last night. And remember, I told you last night I was on, what did I do? I went on like a 3-hour night hike, like walking through the woods at night after a rain all day.
Yeah. And
I had this dream last night.
Wow.
It's like, wow.
Amazing. That's unbelievable. And you know what? And as much as you harness into power of pure presence and pause and breathe, that's your whole thing. And she said, more stillness. It's not deep enough yet. You got to slow down some more. We move so fast through our life, right? The stillness, the power is in the pause. The power is in the ability to stop and just be, right? We get stuck doing, and we lose sight of who we're being, who we're becoming, right? That takes that stillness. I have to pay some more bills. Thank you so much, Austin. I know I always get goosebumps talking to you, and am inspired talking to you. I know the audience is going to be. So thank you so much for what you're sharing, and for our audience, stick with us. We're going to talk about the things he's got going on today and the launches that are happening today. So we're going to talk about that in the next segment. So don't go anywhere. But real quick, founding partner sponsors, Cat Schwarz. If you email info@compassionatehealingservices.com and mention the long bearded guy, you'll receive 20% off one of her services. That's $100 savings off Kat's most unique offering, which is spiritual private investigation services. Kat will use her skills as an evidential medium to reconnect you to a loved one who's crossed over and provide proof of their continued presence in your life. Email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com. Really appreciate you, Kat. Well, and that particular one, you dreamt last night that connected you to somebody that were connected to in your life. And then the other one is Jose Escobar, is the founder and CEO of Entrepreneurs Bookshelf. Check out the Connected Leaders Academy membership to take your business to the next level. This is a perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. Set up a virtual coffee with Jose Escobar today, and you can reach him at www.theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. Incredible group. Absolutely amazing. I know Austin's part of that group. I'm part of that group. It's a really high level mastermind. And if you're not plugged into people that lift you up and raise you up and bring you forward and believe in you and believe in your mission, you're in the wrong tribe. You need to surround yourself. And we're going to talk about proximity to greatness on another episode of this. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to pay some bills here real quick. Stay with us. You're with the long bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network with Austin J. Haines today. Don't go anywhere.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Long Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. You're with the Long Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. And today we're honored to have my first guest ever, Austin J Haines, with us. And I want this, I am so excited you're here. And I don't know, it makes it very difficult going into the breaks there to pause and breathe. I'm like, my heart's going, oh my God, it's Austin. So I appreciate you being here, my brother. In this quick segment, I want to talk. I want to know what's going on. I know this comes out today, and I was honored to get part of the beta group to read it and go through. Unbelievable! It's amazing. But can you tell us what you have launching today? Because it's the 16th of December. It's a big launch day. You got lots of stuff going on. Tell us what's going on.
Well, the book is finally going to be released. I say finally because we were in beta. We had a beta readers, and Gordon D. Melville, the Long Bearded Guy, was one of the beta readers, and really appreciated you taking the time to read the book and giving the feedback. We've made some enhancements to the book. I had some amazing content that were some downloads that I received that are going to add even more context.
Wow.
To the book that I like. One of the concepts is just amazing. Like you read, and you've read the book. So some of this book, you can read parts of it and be like, oh my, like you got enough to really go out and make some great changes, especially the side hustler and solopreneur, because that's who it's primarily written for. Okay. And it's not a how-to book. You know that. There is some how-to elements in it, but it's more like a philosophical or psychological playbook. Tony Robbins, I spent a lot of time in that community, and he always says that 80% of it is psychology and 20% is strategy. So I said, I'm going to focus on the psychology part, because that's the big thing. And even the side hustlers, solopreneurs, my own journey, we have that. We have those internal battles, conflict, and this book is going to give a perspective unlike anything you've ever read that is really going to position you for your own Flashpoint journey.
Very cool. So that's the book.
Yeah. So tonight we're having a book launch, and also what's amazing, which we didn't even talk about, is I always like to add things that bring things to life for the person who's going to experience Flashpoint. So when we did the last live event, Flashpoint 4.0, we also did a documentary where it features 4 incredible stories. That documentary is going to be released tonight. And we also have the Spotlight series, which is more stories. They're more like a short form, quicker testimonies, but they're people who have been in this community and they've been on their journey. I don't give people everything. I just help ignite what's already there. And that really, Flashpoint does that. It helps ignite what's in the person already. So tonight, between book launch, documentary premiere, Spotlight series, it's at the Doubletree Suites in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. We're going to do a live event there. We're going to have a free streaming. It's going to portions of the event will stream, and there's going to be a Zoom option for people like Gordon who are not going to be there physically because of location, but we're able to be in the Zoom and get on there and share via live, real time.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, and you know what? It just keeps expanding. It keeps growing. When you talk about bursting, there's an energy that's a verb. It's not a noun. There's an energy attached to that. And it just keeps growing and growing. The name of the book is Flashpoint Manifesting the Moment of Your Big Breakthrough is the name of the book. And it's best-selling. Austin is a best-selling author already. And so that's the forwards by James McNeil, if you know who that is. But Flashpoint Manifesting the Moment of Your Big Breakthrough is the name of the book. The documentary, I saw the first one, was amazing. It's such an interesting medium, right? Because we normally, when we watch documentaries, we're watching it on Netflix or on TV somewhere, whatever, Reddit. And so when you see people, in a professional setting like that, right, where wildly impactful. It really is. The book is phenomenal. It was, and I read a lot, as you know, but instead of reading 5 to 7 books this month, or I guess we're in December. So in November, it was 8 because I sort of went screaming through. The weird part is what I find for a lot of the books, I went through it quick the first time because I couldn't put it down. I just, right. Some books you pick up and you're like, yeah, okay. And you can read a little bit and then come back to it and read a little bit and come back to it. But I couldn't put it down. So I read through it the first time really quick. And then what caught my attention was, I was saying to myself, Gord, there's some deep stuff in there that's wildly impactful, but I need to go back and read it slower. So then I go back with my journal and I very slowly go through it. And so instead of consuming it really quick, which I did the first time, you go back and go, okay, no, wait. I need to, there's stuff here that I need to pause and reflect with and meditate with and just sit with, right? Some of the concepts are things that if you just let it percolate, right? Something I learned with Bob Proctor years ago when I took one of his courses, I was like the first day, and if you've taken any of Bob's stuff, you know, right? You watch half an hour of Bob in the morning, and then you answer the questions in the book. And then he recommends you listen to it all day, over and over and over in your car, or whatever. And you listen to, and then you watch that same half hour of Bob at night, and then you go to sleep. And the next morning you get up and watch the same half hour of Bob you watched the day before and answer the same questions. And initially I'm like, that's a waste of time. I did this yesterday. Like, what the heck? But when I allowed the process to do its thing, and I think a lot of times we sidestep that. We want the result, but we don't want to do the process, right? And so, what I found was when I went to answer the questions, I'm like, you know what? Because I've been thinking about this for a day, more than 24 hours, my answers were different. And why? Because I was a different human the next day. I had grown from that space. And so, right, that's something that when I was reading your book the second time, I went through, I'm like, you know what? I have to sit and reflect. I need to sit and I need it to filter down, right? It's like water hitting the desert, right? Because it's so dry. Initially, the water just bounce off of it because it can't go in because it's too dry, right? It's hard. But as that water sits there, it starts to sink in and it feeds the ground and it gives it the nourishment and it does all the things it's supposed to do, but it takes a time to do that. And so I really appreciate, and I highly, highly, highly recommend this book. I highly recommend you connect to Austin. He's so many of our thought leaders today sometimes are on a different plane or a different level, and they're a little bit hard. They're a little bit hard to reach. They're a little bit hard to connect to. But Austin is easy to connect to. He's approachable. I appreciate you and love you more than you know, and what you're doing and how you're growing and all the lives you're touching. And, I had talked last week on my show about sometimes we talk about pebbles and we make ripples in the lives of people around us. And what I'm finding is, and I've told you the story, I've shared that story with you about the young man walking back and forth in New York. Mm-hmm. And right, that wasn't, it occurred to me, that wasn't a ripple in that young man's life. That smile did not create a ripple. It created a tsunami. And I think a lot of times we're creating waves in other people. And what you're doing is creating waves and tsunamis in people's lives if they allow it to do that.
That's a great analogy. And I realized that in like this past year because of the feedback I've been getting from people, side conversations just yesterday. Mm. And it's interesting. When I started out, I didn't realize, just like I didn't realize the reviews I was going to get from the book. I didn't realize how impactful. Right. And this really speaks to, if I'm sitting here and Gordon's saying all these great things about me and how I'm in the same conversations as Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar, like that's humbling. But if, as a listener, you got to realize your value is not in your in your perception right now. Because if I devalue myself and then I go to interact with other people, chances are I'm going to devalue them too. And a lot of times, if you're listening to this, that's who you're interacting with. And that's why we talk about people proximity. And I know Gordon's going to have a show coming up about it, another show, who you're with. And that's why I love to come on here and talk with Gordon. I love the light that he's bringing on mental awareness. And that's why it's important to listen every week, because you get that proximity. You get to hear, wow, I am valuable. I do have something to give. And we know there's many conversations right now. You can't turn on social media without hearing Jordan Peterson talk about the battles that men are going through right now, let alone, we're talking about success and breakthrough, but that's what Flashpoint is. I talk about it, the polarity principle. Sometimes the people who are in the darkest spaces are the ones that want success the most. And as they rise up, they're still bringing some of that dark stuff with us. And that's where power of pure presence comes in. Let's shine the light there. Carl Jung talks about shadow work. I mean, let's shine some light there, right, and be courageous in it, and know that in through it all and in it all, we're worthy and you're worthy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think so much springs out of that, out of our worth, what we believe our worth is. How do I show up for myself? Right. I think sometimes people struggle with doing personal development or releasing weight or eating healthy or exercising. We all do. Right. I think some part of that is coming from a paradigm deep inside of us that says, who the hell do you think you are? You're not worth that. And
True.
So we struggle.
Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story. And this shocks people. When I first got introduced to self-development, I didn't read it or learn it, because it made me feel inferior.
Right.
It made me feel like that's for people who are better than me.
Right.
But I kind of stuck my toe in, and then I had a breakthrough that I won't get into the whole story, but I wouldn't read it. Or when I did, it would make me feel inferior.
Right.
Think about that.
Right.
Think about how paradoxical that is.
Absolutely. Well, and it shows us that we're not, oh my God, what do you mean I'm not perfect? I have warts? Oh, what the heck? Like that. We don't want to hear that. We want to be stroked. When I was on the road and was talking to these general managers and owners of these dealerships, and they were go, why do you come down and you tell us what we're doing good, but you always beat us up? And I'm like, well, if you want me to polish your trophies, that's very expensive polish, first of all. And after a little bit, you're going to look at me and go, oh, we're doing everything good. So why am I paying you? Right. So we want to shine a 10 billion watt light, so there is no shadow. Take away all this. There's nothing that can hide, because when we do that, we're taking 100% accountability for who we're being, and we're addressing it. And again, we come back to the whole concept of awareness. If I'm not aware of it, I can't fix it. I can't do anything about it. But I have to have that awareness. I have to. We need to take another quick break. I want to talk real quick. I'm running another bank of sponsorships. If this message connects to you, and whether you're man, woman, gender doesn't matter to me. If you're trying to get and want to be a part of something that's global, that's touching people, especially men and entrepreneurial men globally, reach out to me. You can reach me at thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. There's lots of different ways to be involved, but again, I'm looking for some key people to partner and sponsor in the next round. So if that makes sense, obviously, if you need or are looking for a coach, or whether it's one-on-one or group, or you want some of this to go to your church group or your kids, or to your organization or to your company, some of this stuff you want to talk about or would like me to share with them, please reach out. Again, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. We're going to take another quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to finish up and wrap up. And it's been such an amazing thing to have Austin on today. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. You're with the Long Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the Long Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville, The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Long Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us. We're honored you're with the Long Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville on Inspired Choices Network. And we're with Austin J. Haines today. He's got a huge launch happening tonight with his book. His new book, Flashpoint, Manifesting the Moment of Your Big Breakthrough, is happening tonight. He's launching another documentary. He's got all this stuff going on. If you're not plugged into this gentleman, you need to plug into Austin J. Haines. You've got to get in touch with him. Listen to his stuff. Listen to the power of pure presence. I believe that's, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you can listen to that on Roku and Amazon Fire and whatever, but on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Mm-hmm. And he always has a special place. It's always in nature. It's an unbelievable time together. So I really want to pump that out there. Austin, is there anything that, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Honored, blessed, deeply. So where do they connect with you? What's the best way? And can you drop your information into the chat? We'll make sure it's there. We'll make sure there's other ways, but how do they buy the book? How do they connect or watch the documentary? And
AustinHaines.com. It's just the easiest thing. Just go to the website. There's the book launch link there. If you want to catch the live stream, there'll be an option to buy the book there at some point. You can go in there and buy the book, get the book. You can, if you jump in and register, you'll be able to watch the documentary. Not sure exactly how I think we're going to do that through the Zoom, but we'll see. But you just go to the website, AustinHaines.com, and you'll be able to connect with pretty much anything I'm doing.
Okay, good. And like I say, you know what? I am so excited for you today. I know it's a huge day. I appreciate you taking some time. And again, that's one of my shows a week ago, 2 weeks ago, was about time and what that means. And it's the most valuable commodity we all have. And whether we got lots of it or a little bit, none of us know how much really. So it becomes hey, you know what? It's a non-renewable resource. Where we spend it, it's gone, right? And some people spend it, some people invest it, some people kill it off, or I'm just killing time. Don't do that. You're never getting today back. You're exchanging a part of your finite resource of time for what you're doing today. So make it count, make it worth something. And that doesn't mean you don't enjoy and watch Netflix and do all but we have to have an awareness that we're all given 86,400 seconds in a day. Use them every second. Use it every second. Thank you so much, Austin. We're honored. I'm honored and blessed that you're here. I know the audience was honored and blessed that you're here. And as we come to the end of this, the time just boom, gone. It just freaks me out how fast time goes. In some situations, right? I heard somebody say relativity. If I put my hand on a hot plate, a second can seem like an hour. But if I put my hand on a hot woman, an hour can seem like a second. So it's all relative, right? Well, it's still the same 24 hours in the day. So next week, we're going to talk about the Christmas and the attitude of gratitude. Pop in for that Fridays at noon. Make it another great week. You have the power to do that. I love you. Massive hugs. Live abundantly and with intention. Don't just let it happen. Make it happen. Create it. I love you. We'll see you next week. Thank you to Austin J. Haines. Connect with him. Much success on your launches tonight.
Thank you.
Love you, brother. Big hugs. We'll see you all next week.
Honored to be here. Honored and humbled.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D. Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs.